The anti-junta resistance forces have shot down a second China-built and supplied FTC-2000G fighter jet of Myanmar Air Force, and both pilots lost their lives. The Deputy Chief of the Indian Army has said that China provided real-time intelligence to Pakistan Air Force during the recent conflict, and Chinese surveillance tipped off India's plan of Brahmos strike on the JF-17 production line at PAC Camera, and Pakistani DGMO requested to pull back the striking asset. The Indian Armed Forces inflicted substantial damage on Pakistan's military and terror infrastructure, and the total estimated infrastructure loss on the Pakistani side amounts to at least $962 million. Pakistan has begun inducting a customized Chinese-made Z-10ME attack helicopters that features upgraded avionics and weapons systems suited for high-threat environments. The Stockholm International Peace Research Institute has said that India struck Pakistan's nuclear-related military infrastructure in May 2025. Greece has shown interest in procuring 8x8 WhAP from India, and loitering munitions and long-range sighting systems. The DRDO has started the process of acquiring stabilized launch mechanism system for very short-range air defense system that will be installed on a naval warship for trials. IG Drones of India has been granted the patent for the nation's first indigenous defense drone simulator. South Korea's HD Korea Shipbuilding has signed an MOU with Cochin Shipyard to jointly explore shipbuilding opportunities in India and other countries. Hindustan Aeronautics' new helicopter MRO facility in Goa will commence operation within next 3 months. The Indian government will launch a $234 million incentive program for civil and military drone makers to reduce their reliance on imported components and counter Pakistan's program built on support from China and Turkey. Indian security forces have recovered 203 arms and around 160 types of ammunition in Manipur during joint operations. HAL chief has said that an engine has already been integrated and run with the CATS Warrior airframe, and HAL is focusing on refining the CATS Warrior's flight control laws and aerodynamics in 2026, laying the groundwork for its first flight scheduled for 2027. After the recent wet lease of a KC-135 tanker from a US firm, the Indian Air Force is set to wet lease one Airbus A330-200 tanker from the French Air Force under a G2G deal. Tata Advanced Systems has unveiled the ALS-250 long-range loitering drone that has a range of over 250 kilometers and carries anti-tank or high-explosive warheads optimized for high altitudes above 10,000 feet. HAL chief has said that the rollout of the first Tejas Mk2 light combat aircraft from its Nashik production facility will take place by the end of July 2025, and the Nashik plant is on track to deliver 4 additional Tejas Mk2 aircraft before end of March 2026. HAL chief has said that the wings and fuselage of Tejas Mk2 are under production, and the first prototype will roll out between January and March 2026, followed by first flight later in 2026. He also confirmed that the Indian Air Force will place an order for at least 8 squadrons of the Tejas Mk2, translating to 144 aircraft. The AMCA program has sparked criticism from Indian private industry over an expression of interest issued by the Aeronautical Development Agency. Private players have claimed that the criteria heavily favor Hindustan Aeronautics and effectively sidelines them. Critics have highlighted HAL's delays with the Tejas Mk2 and questioned its monopoly over AMCA, as any more delays in the AMCA could affect India's air power modernization. Experts have said that to salvage the MRFA program, India must act decisively and should issue the request for proposal by third quarter of 2025, prioritizing only the contenders which align with existing Indian Air Force infrastructure and offer deeper transfer of technology and source code. A G2G deal for the 60 Su-57 could expedite deliveries, potentially fielding 2 squadrons by 2028. Alternatively, 36 more Rafale should be ordered, while fast-tracking Tejas Mk2 program by establishing a dedicated task force to cut through bureaucratic red tape. Today's top 3 comments.